Morning all, how are we doing? Sorry I'm late. How are we doing? So I've got brain fog at the moment. I'm still on this stupid juice diet and it's giving me complete brain fog. You've got this permanent, like, not so much numbness in your head, but just feel stupid today. Put it that way. Slow and stupid, which isn't obviously good for trading, but anyway, it's meant to go after a couple of days. So yeah. Morning Christian, morning Steve, Danny. See, I can't even talk. Baggy, Sarah, Virginia, how are we doing? XRUpdate.news, Peter, Andrew, John, Day Trader, JC, Monkey, Andres, Amy, Marco, Neo, and Kennelly. How are we doing? So hopefully we'll get through the session, but my wife's not doing very well. She's got like a permanent mega headache and all she wants to do is eat, which is understandable. We looked at the bottles. So for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a juice diet, a 7-day detox juice diet. It's not really a diet. I don't need to lose weight. It's just cleansing your body, basically. But normally I have sort of 2,000, 3,000 calories a day because I do like 8 spin classes a week. So I do a lot of exercise. And we read all these bottles and that we're drinking these juices, which are really good for you. But they've got like 200 calories in. We're having 4 of them a day. So I've knocked my calorie intake from 2,000 to 3,000 down to 800 a day. So that has weird effects on your body. But hopefully it flattens out and plateaus. We'll see. If not, I'm just going to eat a load of food tomorrow and go, screw it. Anyway, so overnight news, not a lot. Amazon earnings came out. Loads of earnings came out last night. We had all the big boys yesterday. We had Fiverr. That was yesterday morning. We had Airbnb. We had Amazon. We had Apple. We had Coinbase. We had Gilead. So lots of aftermarket earnings came out last night. No earnings today, pre-market to worry about. But all this lot, there was a lot of up. Amazon stock's up 8%. So there's a lot of good news out of the earnings yesterday. So from a US stock perspective, you want to be watching for longs today, I think. We'll see what happens. But the Globex session so far has been pretty quiet. As you can see, so this is Globex so far. We are up, but not up dramatically. So DAX has gapped up. Yeah. So remember, we're doing a gap fill on DAX. We've got that gap fill to fill to the upside. We've now got a gap down as well. So tricky open this morning. They might just whiz down and do that gap, then turn around and turn tail and go for the upside gap. But we'll see. But we might get quite a bit of movement to the upside on the US stock market today. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I'm going to probably look to take a long break on the Dow this morning. But obviously the DAX will just play as normal. News today, obviously it's non-farm payroll day. It tends to be dead quiet this morning quite often. So we've got unemployment for the Canadian dollar at 130. We've got unemployment for the US at 130 as well. And obviously non-farm payroll is in there too. But the things that move the market are the unemployment rates. So those are the key fundamentals. And this is why it moves. So 5.5, we're forecasting unemployment to have gone up in the Canadian area. I think we might get the same in the US, although it is forecast neutral today. But we'll see. So don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. But I think there's a good chance of potentially having a little bit of a drop in both of those today. So I've got US and Canadian shorts on with the yen. So they'll do well. And I've got pound US long. So we'll see. But that's 1:30. So there's nothing really going to happen this morning until 1:30. If you look at the, we've got 2 minutes to the open. If you look at the RSIs, there are none. There's not even a 14 RSI extension. The market is flat as a pancake. 2 days, you can see EuroCAD sideways. We're not going anywhere. There's obviously no ADRs today. So there's nothing to look at today. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the stream. There's nothing, literally nothing to look at. There's nothing setting up at all. Everything that I'm in, I've been in all week. So you can see we started obviously on Monday. I did I closed out that New Zealand dollar CAD because I couldn't be bothered with it. Glad I did. Had a nice day. Bit of drawdown control yesterday. This is exactly where it was basically 3 days ago. So nothing's moving. You can't make money if the market don't move. So looking at the DAX. So we got the upside gap fill on the cards today, and that is a hell of a gap. They're not going to leave that unattended. They will do that. We're moving down at the moment towards potentially this one. So the best play and setups today would be a jump down, gap fill, turn away, and run. That would be beautiful. So you could take a gap short play and then see if you can get back up again. We'll see. But yeah. Morning, Jaresh. Does it help for your trading? No, probably not. It's a good job there's nothing to actually analyze this morning. I'm not that bad, but yeah, it's weird. Basically, it's a bit like fasting, but you're taking lots of nutrition from the juices, from the fruit and the vegetables in the juices, which is great for your body. But obviously, calorie intake, the stuff that your body wants to turn fat into everything. There you go. DAX feels short. So pre-market short on the DAX. That bit of it's not good. So short DAX. See if we can get that rally down. That fill. Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird. Morning, Francisco. Morning, outro. What's your total percent gain on that strategy year to date? What, on position trading? I don't know. I live month to month. It will be, where are we? July. 20, 35, 40, probably somewhere around about 50, 55, I would say, at the moment. 25% last month, month to month, but I've had losing months along the way. We've had a 5% month. We've had a 19% month. January was good. Go back to look at the replays on the channel on YouTube and just go to the last day of the month. You'll see my P&L every month. The last day of the month will be, you'll see what it is. Big drop. Wow, this is coming down hard. That I was not expecting this morning. Well, I was on the DAX, but I wasn't expecting on the US indices because I would expect them to be rallying. We had nothing but good stock earnings. I can't talk properly. It's like being on drugs. Not that I would know. I think that the market as well is fasting at the moment, yeah. Summer trading months we're entering. This is why I've set the RSI 14s up on the dashboard. So next week, we'll probably start paying a little bit more attention to those looking for entry opportunities. So you got 1 hour short at the moment on the DAX. 2 are off the pre-market. So it depends what you've taken, right? This version of the EA, which is my own development version of the EA, has gone with the 25-minute pre-market today because the 5-minute and 15-minute were too tight. They were too small. So that is the range that I have this morning. Stop is trailing on it. So that's my actual risk at the moment. But if you took the pre-market 5 or 15, it's pretty much the same. You are approaching 2R now, 1.5R easy. I did some testing yesterday. You saw, if you were in the live room yesterday afternoon, you saw the testing that I was doing. And I was, there's your 2R. Okay, so manually, I'm just going to move my stop to 1R, lock in 1R in, because that's the gap fill done. Why is this market selling off so hard on positive earnings? Weird. NASDAQ and the DOW are absolutely collapsing. whatever. Yeah, so I did some testing yesterday. This version of the EA I've got set up to do a lot of, it's basically a research EA. So it's set up to do a lot of testing as to what if scenarios. And the test I did yesterday was, is it better to take the pre-market 15 range or the pre-market range? Okay, so forget the 15, the 5, etc. Is it better to take a pre-market break or is it better to take a 5-minute break? So I ran a test using 30 system parameter permutations. So not a massive test, but all of the important stuff like stop losses, trailers, and getting out, TPs. So I ran those tests. The pre-market, it would decide what is the best range to take based on the ranges formed. So we know that taking tiny ranges means you get a lot of slippage and quite often you get whipsawed. Not good. So you need a decent range, somewhere between 10 to 20% of the average range of the instrument. That I've determined already. So I did it saying, take whatever range you think is best for pre-market and then do the same test and take the 5-minute opening range. So that's 2R out the back. I'm going to lock in 1.5. So I ran the test with 30 permutations on pre-market. Then I ran the same test again with 30 permutations on opening range candle, that massive big one that's just gone in. The results came back. Every single system parameter permutation, all 30 of them, on the pre-market ranges returned a profit. And this was a 2.5-year test. So it's a long period of time as well. It's not just, oh, that was a lucky 6 months. This was 2.5 years. Haven't done any outer sample testing yet, but 5-minute opening range, less than half the results came back as positive. The rest of them made a loss. So my testing is actually showing that 5-minute ORB is not as effective as that. And it's days like this you can see why. Because you just made 2 to 3R in 5 minutes and you're done. That's it. Off you go. Whereas the 5-minute opening ranges, if you get a decent range that turns into a rotation day, most of the time you just get a stop out. So what I'm doing is I'm developing this to also test hedging, which is what it's doing at the moment. You see there's no stops in place. There is a stop loss there, but that stop loss was only added when the market had moved down to 1R. Then it starts trailing itself. Yeah. So we know that we've got the break before we actually put the stop in place. That stops those days where you get that movement, getting a double-ended stop out, instantly taking a 2R loss. No point. Let's wait because we've obviously got hedged now. We don't know which way the market's going. If it goes nowhere, the worst case scenario is a minus whatever loss. You can't lose more than you initially get on in your hedge. It's usually whatever your risk is. If it goes, excellent. We take some profit. When it pulls back, we take the second position off at a lower point than the range. And all of a sudden it becomes a profitable day, even though you got the direction wrong twice. So testing all of these scenarios out over long periods with different ranges, and all of them point to the pre-market to be the best thing to take. But do not take the pre-market 5, 10, 15. Shouldn't be based on time. Time's irrelevant. What is relevant is the average range of this instrument does in a day and a percentage of that range, because that's a constant that works regardless of what the market conditions are. So if you've got a tight market with a low ADR, your ranges are smaller. Yeah. So the percentage of the range that you should analyze before the market is dynamic. Yeah. So in the current version of the opening range breakout, you can set a pip distance, minimum and maximum pip distance in the EA. So what you would do is just take ADR and take 20% of that or 10% of that, whatever it was, and the minimum has to be this and the maximum has to be that, and you set it manually. But this is trying to make it dynamic. So it's interesting. Days like this, with 3R on the day already, so locking in 2, is way more profitable. However, there's an awful lot of those days that you sit there all day and you don't make any money, but you come out with a smaller loss than you would have done if you'd taken double-ended stop outs. And then there's the other scenario where we get a double-ended stop out and then we go, right, okay, will take another trade now. So you use further setup. So there's all sorts of testing I'm doing with it. But it's interesting that the pre-market is actually more profitable than the 5-minute ORB. In my initial testing with the opening range breakout EA, which is this one, not that one, this one, there was no difference. Profitable. Yeah, pre-market set file and the 5-minute set file returned roughly the same thing, somewhere between 3 to 5 return on drawdown, which is phenomenal. Interesting. Anyway, I'll update you on the results when I've done them all, but it's a long-term project. Really. When am I releasing it? Oh, when it's finished. I don't know. It's evolving all the time. This is when you're doing strategy development, it's not a case of I want to test this works. I want to test this works, but what if I did that? There's always a what if you can add on to it. And you end up getting this sprawling EA, which tests multiple conditions. When you've found something that works, you use it. But then you go, right, okay, so what if that doesn't work? On the days where this doesn't work, what should we do next? So then it's a case of, oh, okay, let's look at what happens when we hit 5R from the range. On those days, if we manage to do that, what should we do? And you can visually backtest all of this as well. So it's evolving. But this is why I've called it kind of index scalper rather than opening range breakout, because it is at the moment analyzing that, but it's not going to just do that. It's going to do all sorts of other stuff as well. As I said, I'm trying to replicate myself, which is what would I do in this situation? Is that's what I'm trying to get into the EA. Best case scenarios. Anyway, so DAX is a beautiful ORB today, as you can see. We're still going. I'm just going to adjust the trailer on that. I'm going to tighten it up. This is the next bit. I haven't programmed this in yet, but the next bit is when you get to 3R, it automatically adjusts stop to 1R. So 216, I need to adjust the trailer to. Okay, so basically, if this continues to push now down, it will be trailing at a 1R behind price because we got a load of cash. We don't want to let that cash go. I've got $1,600 sitting in profit. I'm not just going to let this go back there. So we now tighten trailer. We take what the market gives us. Right, that's your ORB done today. There we go, nice and easy one today. That's good. I can go off and do other things. I got 4% profit on my support resistance bounce account at the moment, which is nice. So we'll look at some support resistance opportunities in a minute because there's nothing else to look at. We are flat RSI. We are flat ADRs. Across the board today, I think you're going to find you're going to get nothing but this for the next 3 to 4 hours because obviously we've got non-farm, we've got the unemployment rates coming out for the Canadian and the US. So it's unlikely we're going to find ourselves in a position where we're going to have opportunities to trade much today. Gap fill is done now on the DAX. Okay, so it's more than done very quickly. So upside potential on this, obviously, as we know, we've got a downside, which is 100 ADR, which is yesterday's low. That is that support area that I drew in previously, which we've bounced off. That is your obvious target now. So we're not going to get there today. Well, mind you, it's non-farm payroll day. 200 ADR is not off the cards on a bad non-farm. So there is potential for us to get gap fill today on the DAX, but unlikely. So yeah, that's the next play, is to start looking for long opportunities up for that gap fill. So obviously we are very exhausted today already. If we get further down, you're going to find the trend line geeks, oops, are going to be buying this up now. Yeah. So we might find we get a move start from this level. So we'll see. But yeah, good opportunity to start maybe trailing a pending order above candle highs. So if we continue to push down, just trail a pending order above candle highs. At some point, you're going to go, or use the reversal alert indicator, obviously, would be the obvious thing to do. But I think you're going to find it hard to get a reversal alert today because of the strength of that movement. So if we make a new low, your reversal alert's going to drop onto that candle. So that would be your entry to go long, but you've you're buying straight into a propulsion gap. So I'm surprised this has sold off so much based on the earnings. But they are. So there we go. We've had German industrial orders this morning. They were a massive increase on forecast. So that's fairly bullish for the Eurozone. But I don't think we've had much movement that I could see on the Euro this morning. It's slightly bullish off the news, but as I say, you're not going to get a massive move today because it's non-farm. OddCAD, we'll have a look at that in a sec. Aussie CAD. So, yeah, I mean, Aussie CAD, we just had a reversal up to the upside, but again, not going anywhere really. We're stuck kind of here. I'm just watching. I really fancy a long on this. I don't understand why we're dropping. We've just hit the Globex low on the Dow. Sorry, I keep whipping around a bit this morning, but we're at Globex low on the Dow. And it's rejecting it. Yeah, I've got 3 candles. There's an iceberg order there. It's a very high risk trade though, trading against the steam train like this. So that is 3-bar confirmation though. If that candle closes bullish, may have a go at that on futures. Yeah, Aussie dollar CAD. I don't know. It's not going anywhere at the minute. Last trade on that was this long from the RSI extension after the shorts. So it's not really anywhere at the minute. It's in obviously it's downtrend. So the bias on this is short. Australian dollar's just had bad, hasn't put its interest rates up, and its inflation is ridiculously high. So it's negative Aussie. We've had New Zealand news negative, which is going to bring the Aussie down a little bit as well. And Canadian dollar, obviously this is going to be reliant on today's news. So whatever you do here today, yeah, this is either going to do that or that this afternoon at 1:30. So if you want to try and get into a position, you need to obviously get into it ahead of the news really and try and get it into profit. But there's no real, the bias is short at the moment, but obviously the bias could flip this afternoon because this is a key fundamental. That isn't. That is 5.5. Long on the Dow. God, I've got too many platforms open. So out the DAX, short. I've just gone along the Dow. So this Globex low rejection. It's high risk, but I don't understand that move. We've had nothing but positive earnings. So if anything, I would have expected that to be the first move of the day, not that. So this, I think, might be a fake move, in which case we're pull back long, which would make much more sense. So we'll see, but that's working at the moment. So I'm long 1 from here on the break of that high. I'm going to add another long when we get out of this propulsion move. So if we get back to the open, I'm going to add another long, bringing an average into there. See if we can get a break up to that high. Right, Aussie CAD, looked at that one. My OLB has only just taken an entry. Okay, I don't know what time you said that, but hopefully that's done what it should have done. If you say you are in summer mode and with the market and we adjust the RSI, is it some adjustment on the hedge strategy needed as well? Hedge strategy doesn't use RSI. Hedge strategy just gets in the market. With the, if you're running the H1 hedging strategy, you're the best thing you can do is watch your P&L, and maybe when you get less profit than you would normally take it off. If obviously the thing with the summer trading is it's a very difficult period for two reasons. First of all, there's light liquidity. Light liquidity has two effects: either no movement at all or massive movement. Because there's less money available in the market, when the banks need to execute a large order, they have to have people on the other side, obviously, to execute that order for them. So when they put that large order in, they won't get filled at the level they would usually because there's not enough liquidity. So they have to push a little bit further to find somebody to fill the order. And then they keep doing that. So what you end up with is bigger candles and lower volume, which means that those candles undo themselves faster as well. So you either get that or that. Yeah. And there's no kind of in between. So what you tend to find is you get these big, strong moves which get undone very quickly, and then it goes back to nothing again. Because they're just trying to fill orders, and because there's no liquidity in the market, you get high volatility, but you can't tell when it's coming. So when you're in positions, what you find is you'll get these big moves quickly that will suddenly go up to ADR or something, and it will give you an opportunity to get out. You need to get out because quite often they will come back down again because the market won't have a big, strong direction. It will just have big rangy moves, but it might be tight ranges. Then it'll go into big ranges, and then it'll go back into tight ranges. It's completely, it's random as it is, but it's more random, if that makes any sense. It's just a nightmare. And obviously, to make money in the markets, we need market movement. That's what our job is to buy at one price and sell at another price. The more it moves, the more money we make. When you've got something that's not moving very far, you have to be in and out faster, kind of turn into a little bit more of a scalper. So with P&Ls, you know, this US dollar yen, I've seen this go from 0 to 200 to 0 to 200 to 100. You know, if you see something flip-flopping in your P&L for 3 or 4 days, just put it in the bank because, you know, got into the trade here. Yeah, in profit, out of profit. In profit, a little bit less profit. If this thing does this, the next time it does that, take it because it's probably going to do that. You've just got to be a little bit more vigilant, I think, is all you got to do. But as for adjusting settings, obviously, RSI is my bread and butter, is king. So with that, it's a case of switching it. So we're on a 21. The 21 is probably going to find it hard to make any entries. So you switch it down to the 14. So you see the entries there. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. If you can't quite see it. There's one just there. So then you switch down to a 14. Bang. All of a sudden now you've got that entry, that entry, that entry, that entry that you didn't have. So you've doubled the amount of opportunity. But when the market is contracted, what you're doing by reducing your RSI down is you're just giving yourself the same amount of opportunities. It's a more sensitive instrument to movement. So the smaller price moves will get the RSI extended faster. The big ones you're going to get, you know, you'll be seeing 90s and 10s regularly on the 14 RSI because it's much more sensitive. You know, it's like if you switch it to the 7, yeah, you'll be having huge moves. Look, it's more like a stochastic. And stochastic is terrible. It turns into more like a stochastic. So you don't use that. 14 is kind of the one. So, but what I tend to do is just, well, I'm going to put it on 21 for the minute. But what I tend to do is just monitor it. So watch the dash. Yeah. And the trigger really is you sit here. And it's usually in the live room. I'm sitting here and going, I haven't looked at an RSI for 3 days. I think it's time to switch. It's flat. There's nothing. There's literally no alerts. And with ADR, if you suddenly find you're getting a load of ADR hits and they all play out, you know you're in summer trading. But there's no real, it doesn't start on a date. And obviously it's dependent on market conditions as well. Yeah, if we have a ton of news and there's things going wrong in the world, we don't get summer trading because there is a lot of volatility. The banks look to make money when there's money to be made. If there's money to be made, they'll make money. Yeah. So they'll execute more orders. Yes. They'll give the guys that are at work more portfolio. They'll just trade more volume, you know. So there's all, you can never can tell, but it's just hard. But I looked at my last August. My last August was 18%. So last August was actually pretty good. But it's because I think things moved faster. So, but I've had also August which are terrible. But then the further you go back in time, the less reliable those results you had in the past are, because you're more experienced now, so you make less stupid decisions. Trade from month to month. You're only as good as your last month. Harold, my ORB missed its entry. Yeah, market moved too fast this morning. Yeah. So if you took the pre-market today, I got slipped on it today on the pre-market. That terminal. I've got way too many terminals. So you see, I got slipped on it. Actually, no, I didn't get slipped. No, that's a perfect entry today. But if it moved too quick, you didn't get the limit order in, nothing you can do. Broker execution. This is why I said, we had this conversation yesterday. When you're picking a broker for scalping, there's two things which are absolutely critical: order execution speed and spread. Those are the two things which will cause slippage. So order execution speed and spread. When you're looking for a broker to trade 5-minute timeframes, that is your thing. That's what you need. Those two things have got to be spot on. Okay, so the long on the Dow is working nicely. My entry on the that's the DAX. My entry on the Dow is here, so I'm just going to keep an eye on that. It's for $500 in profit. So what I'm worried about is this being a pullback short. I'm just going to cover it, actually. Just did you not just place my order there? Sorry, bear with me a sec. Rejected? Why? Why can't I place an order? So bear with me a sec. Okay, I've just had to close that. Something wrong with TradeAvate at the minute. It wouldn't let me put my order in the market. Okay, so I've put a pending order in just to enter on that high. I've closed that one out there. Just entered another one. I don't know if you've heard, but TopStep, which is who I'm with for futures, they've just shut their books, basically. They're not taking any more customers on because they've got all sorts of technical problems at the moment. So I don't know if there's anything on their website, but there will be on their blog, wherever their blog is. But they've basically just shut for the minute because they've got an absolutely huge backlog of problems. TradeAvate have had lots of issues with their platform, and they've got literally 5-day backlog in support requests. So they've shut. So they're not taking. You can't take an evaluation with TopStep at the moment. They've closed. Unfortunately, they've a victim of their own success. They've put the best possible futures platform together with the best possible rules, and everybody now wants to trade with them. Now they've got too many customers, they can't handle it. And when things go wrong, it snowballs. So at the moment, they're in massive, massive problems. So that is one of the problems. Here you go. Currently paused. I just tried to place a pending order to get out of that trade, and it wouldn't let me place the pending order. It rejected the order. So, if you can't place an order when you're in a trade, that's catastrophic, especially when you're trading 5 contracts, which is worth like $25 a tick. So I've just closed that out, but I will get back in long. I've just got a pending order above, which it has let me place, funnily enough. For some reason. Definitely something wrong with that. Anywho, Euro New Zealand. Sorry, let's go back to that. Euro New Zealand. So yeah, sideways. I think there's going to be a theme today. If you ask me to look at stuff, it's sideways. It's not going anywhere. I've just, sorry, I'm on the wrong platform. Switch over to the right platform. So yeah, we are just sideways at the moment on Euro New Zealand. I've got short on at the moment, which was off the RSI extension on Wednesday. We've got monthly high coming up there, so potential second entry there. Propulsion gap target initial is down there. That's the big one that I'm aiming for at the moment, which is 125 ADR today. We've got no news on the Euro or the New Zealand today. So non-farm payroll affects everything. So we will get some movement, but we'll see what happens. If we get, as expected, unemployment rates this afternoon, there's a chance that we may just get a little bit of a fluctuation and a whipsaw off the US dollar, in which case, obviously, this is just going to do the same thing. So same thing, I'm in this, been in it for 2 days, been watching this P&L flip-flop between like $100 and $100 up, down, up, down. Nothing's moving. Damn it. That looks like the perfect reversal off the bottom of that Dow. I've got another Dow trade just about to go on. Yeah, so that's not going anywhere at the moment. It's not extended on the hourly. It's not extended on the 4 hourly. Your entry was the same spot on the 4 hour RSI as well. Look. Sorry. No, it wasn't. So yeah, no entry on the 4 hour, and it's extended on the hourly, but sideways. Just sideways. So range highs and lows, which is where we are at the moment. Take shorts, look for exits down there if you want to be super aggressive, but propulsion gap targets, obviously, if you want to be conservative. Can RSI 7 be used in a continuation signal? Yeah, so RSI 7 is what Larry Williams used to use on the S&P, and it's a very good strategy for S&P on the daily in a bull market, not in a bear market, in a bull market. No, it wasn't. It was RSI 2. Sorry. Larry Williams used to use... Oh, that was an RS... That's the wrong RSI. That's why. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, RSI 7 in a bull market. Entry, 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 entry. That's where you add your positions. And if you want to, depending on how you trade, if you're using an always in strategy, you wouldn't get out until you get above the RSI, but above the high level on the RSI, but in and out basically. But when you're in a bull market, you tend to not get out. You tend to stay in and just add. Yeah, it's a good RSI to use the 7, but it's a daily. Too aggressive for lower time frames. What's the V lines on your chart? Lines up great with a gap fill. V lines. V lines. Don't know. I don't know what you mean by V lines. Along the Dow. I got 3 RSI. Did I put an extra RSI on here yesterday? I mucked about the chart, didn't I? No. Yeah, that's a 21. That's the wrong one. Sorry. That's a 21. That should be a 14. Vertical. These lines are day separators. Period separators. Just the days. Just part of your MT4. Oh, you're talking about the ORB EA? Oh, sorry. On the ORB, yeah, that's your open. That one. That's all part of the opening range breakout strategy. Right, I haven't really got much else to look at today because obviously there's nothing else to look at because it's flat and it's non-farm payroll day. So dashboards are flat, nothing to look at. We're at the end of the week. There's no monthly hits so far. So it's just a case really of today waiting for non-farm payroll to be out of the way and dealing with anything that you've got open. So if you do manage to get into a position ahead of non-farm where you've got profit on the table, depending on what you've got on, it's worth banking something because like this US dollar yen, for example, if this is sitting up at $200 in profit, although it's a tiny amount, it's worth putting it in the bank because there's two things that can happen. It's either going to go into drawdown and I can't have it anymore, or it's going to go up and hit my target. However, it's better just to put that in the bank and take that money rather than gamble on a 50-50. Yeah, you've got $200, take it. If it goes down, you've got to deal with it. And if that unemployment rate comes out at massively, massively high, i.e. we go up by 0.2% or 0.3% or something ridiculous, that US dollar is going to come down for a while. So, yeah, so if it comes out the other way, for example, so for me, that would be great. But if you're long on it, for example, on any US dollar, but if it obviously comes down by 0.3%, US dollar is going to rally for a while, which means that I'm going to go into drawdown for a while. So it's worth just banking anything that you can that's worth banking, but don't bank it just because it's green. Bank it because you can do something with the money, basically. There's no point in banking for $18 on the Euro New Zealand, for example. But as we've not moved far for the last 2 to 3 days, we probably will get a fair bit of volume this afternoon come through. So the other account that I've started running, which was the support resistance, I haven't really had a lot of entries on it because nothing's happened. So I've got a CAD yen short on that I took yesterday, which hasn't gone anywhere. I've got that pound US dollar long on from the support bounce from here, which is moved up, not really gone anywhere. TP's up there. That will hit TP or stop loss today. And New Zealand dollar CAD, and again, hasn't gone anywhere. So that's the support bounce. Down there's a wick, that purple line. So I'm in on that from there. It's going up. Haven't gone anywhere really though. So the other trades I took with New Zealand dollar Swiss, and that all just panned out wrong. Didn't work. Didn't get the bounce. Had 2 attempts at it. Didn't get it. Now it's starting to rally a little bit. But so yeah, 5% down, 3.2% in profit, and I've got loads of profit if basically the market goes the right way today. So the only thing I can do today really is just have a quick look through everything and look for some support resistance bounce plays. But I did have a quick scan through yesterday. Nothing's setting up because nothing's moving. So I whiz through them, but there's not really anything interesting that I can see. That Aussie dollar CAD was the other one I had to go on there. We stopped out. I stopped out on that one. Then it rallied. Happy with that. Nothing wrong with that. Half an ADR stop. Went half an ADR against me. So, nothing you can do with that one. But that is bouncing at support. I'm not convinced about the Aussie dollar having any strength though, so I don't really like that. Just watching this Dow flip-flop around a little bit. So we're on a deep pullback on the Dow. If you look at the DAX as well, we're rejecting propulsion at the moment. So this is a retracement on the opening range candle. So that's your 50% retracement. So this could be next leg down starting here. In fact, I'm going to get out now. Bit of a big move this. I'm not convinced that this market's going to go long today. So we're putting in an inside bar at the minute in propulsion. So potentially we could be coming back down to test the lows. I don't know quite why the market sold off so hard, and that worries me when you expect it to go long and it sells off quite so hard. Not quite sure. So yeah, Aussie dollar CAD, no use. Aussie dollar Swiss, that's just trending down. So if you wanted to take a trade on that, short out of there, wait for the reversal alert on M5 to trigger at somewhere in that area, and then short it back down again. No reason why we should be taking longs on that. Aussie New Zealand, missed this one. That was the bounce. I was too late on it. So I'll be looking for back up to there on that one. Not really wanting to get into that yet. Aussie yen in the middle of nowhere. Aussie US out the bottom. So potential short opportunity coming up at that monthly level. So if we do get up to there, I would consider taking a short on that one. Stop would need to be above that resistance. So that accumulation, that resistance, and entering somewhere around there with a stop up there. So as long as that's over half an ADR, 46, 41 is half an ADR. So you need to get fairly tight entry somewhere in these propulsion gaps short. But it's not ready yet. I'm just going to stick a alert there. CAD Swiss, sideways, middle of nowhere. Sell that high, buy that low. CAD yen, that's the short I've got on at the moment. So I took this late, very late. This is pure speculative trade in respect of I'm expecting the yen to power up. So that's basically the idea for the trade. So this is what I've taken, this double top, and I missed it. So I decided to take a break of that leg. So basically what I'm expecting is market structure to do this. So whether or not my stop gets taken out, if it does that, fine. Otherwise, hopefully that will just drop. So we just push and accumulate and drop. So that's what I'm expecting, a test back down to these lows. Obviously, I'm not going to go that far. I don't get that greedy. But I suppose I might as well go for the propulsion rather than that. So that's short. Swiss yen, yeah, nice looking short opportunity on this one. Someone just asked for this. I missed it, didn't get into it. But yeah, short. But again, this is yen. So we've no idea with the yen. It's one or the other, isn't it? The yen. We just don't know. It's either massively weak, massively strong. There's not really any in between with the thing. The Swiss franc's been weak for the last few days as well. So yeah, tricky one, that one. But yeah, shorts, I would take that short. You've had a reversal alert on it on the lower time frame this morning, M15. You've also had this morning as well. So, but it is very range bound at the minute, but much more short than long, I think, at the moment. And that's a beautiful resistance that keeps getting rejected over and over. So enter there, stick half an ADR stop on it, which is 98. So stop somewhere up there. And then for 1.5 hour, 2 hour back down in this propulsion. Looks like a good short. Euro odd, nothing out the highs. So that area there for a support bounce. Put a pending there. Sorry, a pending, an alert. Euro CAD, middle of nowhere. Euro Swiss, middle of nowhere. Euro pound, middle of nowhere. Euro yen, same, middle of nowhere. So there's not a lot going on. Euro New Zealand, we could get a test up at that high. This is a pretty good level as well, actually. I just don't like accumulations. We're accumulating for a reason, because the market is happy and in balance. When the market is not happy anymore and it wants to do a price discovery move, 50-50 shot as to which one it goes to. There's no market structure on this. This is just a push and accumulation. So although it's accumulating at those highs, what you often find with wick-off theory, for example, when you've had your wick-off spring, you accumulate or form a symmetrical triangle at previous highs before you push back onto the next leg up, in this case. So for me, that's a little bit more bullish. So there's a potential short up at those highs, but I'd leave it where it is right now. The best play on this probably is a straddle order above and below, and you'll stop equidistant, a bit like the opening range breakout. If it goes short, take it short, stop. When you get down to there, 1.5 bar, just take it off. And same with the long. But the trouble with the long is, if you take that long there, you're buying straight into potential resistance, which will drive back down again. So the short would be the better entry. But again, you can see, look, this is a prime example of a range. Look, market reversal alerts EA saying we're going short, we've retested. We're going long, we've retested. We're in a range, it's saying basically. So nowhere to go. No directional bias. Tricky market this morning. Euro US dollar. Very hard. I'll be definitely looking for a long down here if we get to 150 ADR. In fact, I'm just going to stick an alert down there. Obviously, it's non-farm payroll day, so the US dollar is going to rally one way or the other today. If we rally down to there, I'd be looking to buy it. And it might be a very quick in and out. We might get a V-shaped move today. So if it rallies to the upside, it's very difficult to pick a support resistance. There's an area there which we bounced at. We tested it again. And obviously you got a nice double top there, but there's no real obvious place to the upside I would want to get in. I would much rather get in down here and target all of these beautiful propulsion gaps to the upside. Yeah, so starting to move like that. So I'd like to get down there. If we can get down there, I'd be interested in taking it along. Pound odd. This one broke above the highs and obviously is starting to reject. The pound is along though, so not really anything I'm interested in. If we got down to maybe a double bottom bounce off of that area, or potentially these highs. So somewhere down to there, once that propulsion gap is filled. But I'd want to be going long on it, really. Short. Pound CAD, totally sideways. Pound Swiss, missed it. So that was the double bottom entry. Missed it. Pound Yen, nowhere. Middle of nowhere. Pound New Zealand. That was the short I took off. So that one worked nicely. So that was the high bounce. You could, in fact, take that again. However, pound is long. So, you know, think about what I just said about Wyckoff. Or Wyckoff, depending how you pronounce it. After we get the Wyckoff spring, we push up, we accumulate at the highs, and then we break to the upside. So more of a long than a short. Pound US. That's the long I've got on. So at the mercy of the news today. So depends where this is going to be. If we're back up here at the news, I will stop to break even on this one. Because if it is going to dump, basically, if we get a lower than expected unemployment rate, the US is going to rally, which is going to bring the pound US down, obviously. So I will put a break-even stop on that. I might even reduce risk ahead of the news, just in case. But if this does rally today, So my target at the moment, as you can see on this, is at just over 100 ADR. I've just gone long on the NASDAQ. I'll come back to this in a sec. So that Dow trade that I had on there, which I took off. No, I had on there, sorry, that I took off, break even. We've just broken the highs again. So the DAX, this is either a flag break waiting to happen for a new leg down, or this was just the gap play, and now we're going to rally up for the gap to the upside. So on the NASDAQ, this is a flag, but we've got a big bullish move that's just come in there into this propulsion. So I get the feeling, same with the Dow, that double bottom is going to hold that we had on the Dow. And I think we're going to want to rally. So I've just flipped long, but I've taken a NASDAQ. And the reason I've taken the NASDAQ is because I think we should get a rally on the NAS off the back of the Amazon earnings. Amazon's in the NASDAQ. So we should be getting a rally off of the back of that, as well as Apple. So I'm just trying to find a really good spot to try and hold something for the session, if not into New York. So I've only taken a single contract, but I'll add another one as we get up towards the top of that propulsion gap. And then I'll add when we break that propulsion gap, because if we can get ourselves back up into here, I think there's a good chance of doing that or just going upside today. So this could be the low of the day, or rather the Globex would be the low of the day, but this is the low of the Frankfurt session potentially. So let's see. So yeah, we'll want to protect this, I think, but target wise to the upside, if we're going to get a really, really bad result on non-farm, we could be looking at a 150, 175 would be the obvious ADR to the upside. We've got this massive propulsion gap. So, hey, let's go for it. If we get one of those mothers of all spikes, yeah, I'll take it. If it's up here and I see it starting to pull back, I'll take it. But there's no point in putting your TP on that propulsion gap. If the news is going to kick today, let it kick. Go with it. Take as much money out of the market as you possibly can. These are the days you can pay the mortgage. New Zealand dollar CAD. So got longs on that one as well. Same story with this one. Target is there. Canadian dollar, if that rallies dramatically, I mean, we should be looking at that propulsion, but highly unlikely. But hey, you never know. So if we're up here, by the time the news comes out, stop's going to come up to break even to protect it in case we get a negative news event. And then off we go. So long on that one. And that's that double bottom bounce, basically. So the reason for that trade was all of this. New Zealand dollar Swiss, tried that multiple times, got in too early. Worked. Mid-range New Zealand dollar yen, no reason to get into that yet. Want it down here or up there. New Zealand US, out the lows, sitting sideways, nothing at all of interest on that. There is. Okay, so if we get down to there, just going to put an alert. Be looking for longs down at that low. The thing is, if this triggers off the news, if this moves down massively on negative US news, that isn't where you want to take it on a negative US news event, because it could continue to rally down for days. Also, it would be positive US in this case, because it would be negative New Zealand US. So, yeah. So if we get one of those whipsaws and it just basically does that I'd probably be interested in. If we slam down into it, I'm not going to go long just because we slammed down hard. I'd need it to pull back. But the further it pulls back, obviously, the further away your stop's got to be, the further you've got to move. So I think I'll wait for fundamentals on that, but it's worth monitoring that one. US dollar CAD, same story. Alert up at those highs. If we were to get up there by the news, it's possible. That's yesterday's high. So if we can get up there by the news, I would be interested in taking a short with a half ADR stop on that before non-farm payroll. Because if the non-farm payroll figures come out as negative for the unemployment rate, or i.e. the unemployment rate goes up, meaning negative for the US dollar, then that's coming down. So if you can get into something ahead of non-farm, brilliant. Because if it flies, you're making a fortune. If it goes the other way, you just stop out as normal, don't you? You might get a bit of slippage, but so yeah, up there would be interesting. So stick an alert up there. US dollar Swiss, bang in the middle of nowhere. This could go up or down from here, so not interested. And US dollar yen. I'm in short on the CAD yen. US dollar yen has got so much downside, but we are going to need that yen to be strong. And at the moment, it's obviously they've ruined it. They teased us into a, hey, guess what, guys? We're suddenly going to put our interest rates up and it's all going to be good news. And then they gave us the news and we went, what are you talking about? Nah. So that yen strength hasn't really come back in. We've had a couple of flurries, but we are still now unsure. We've got an expanding wedge forming. We're not sure which way we're going. So, don't know. Nothing to see there at the moment. Short at that high would be interesting, but the real level I would be interested in is 145. So if we can get back up to this 145 level, that I definitely would love to short. And it'd be one of those trades that I would actually hold on to, because if we get the Japanese telling us that they're not happy with the interest rate, with the current conditions of the FX market, and they will intervene, we know that one or two things is going to happen usually. The market will do as it's told, or it will get done as it's told by intervention from the yen. So 145 is where we got the warning shot last time. Market did what it was told. We get back to them, we get the warning shot this time. If the market doesn't do what it's told, I should be looking for short opportunities for the next couple of weeks because they will be big. Yeah. We know what happens with the US yen. Yeah. When the intervention comes, you do not want to be the wrong side of it. The last interventions at 150 we had were there, and there. Yeah. So 400 ADR to 800 ADR in one day. So, and that's what we got told at 145. We got told it at 150, didn't we? All the way up here. Every single day, pretty much for 2 weeks, the Japanese were saying, if you keep selling the yen, we will intervene. Although we won't do that, but we will take measures. They never say they're going to intervene. They will take steps, measures, whatever they say they're going to do. But at the end of the day, you know what's coming, one of those. So the market typically normally reacts. You see what happened after the first shot? Yeah. Oi, stop it. Okay. Oi, stop it. Okay. We told you to stop it. Bang. Okay. Shell shocked for weeks. Crap, we lost a load of money there. Let's push our luck again. Yeah, you only do it twice. It's like a naughty child. Once you've done it once and you've been told off. When you do it again, you get told off twice as hard. You don't do it again. That's what we had at 145. And we're approaching that again. So that's a sell. But I'm in short on this account is in short because this is position trading account. And this is in on the H1 mean reversion as usual. So, which is in profit at the moment, just looking for that propulsion gap. But if not, I know I've got 145 as backup. So just scale in to 145 and get out when it's doing what it's told. Right, there you go. So that's good morning. Made a bit of money on the Dow on futures, sitting in $455 of profit so far on the NASDAQ. And banked $1,000 on the Dow, on the DAX rather. There we go. Pretty good morning. That's all I've got for you today. So back this afternoon at 2:20. Obviously, bear in mind this is all coming out 1:30. So what we'll do at 2:20 is analyze this lot. The opening range breakouts today, I will make a decision on later. But likelihood is it will be don't bother, because we've got no earnings pre-market today, and all of the volume today will have gone on non-farm at 130. So by the time we get to the New York Open, there'll be no volume left in the market. It will have all gone at 130. So if it doesn't for any reason go at 130, if we get as expected results across the board and the market just purely does not react, then yeah, maybe we'll take the opening range breakouts. But it'll be a case of just looking at it really and seeing what happens. Oh, you've just reminded me of something. Thanks for subscribing, Ollie. Welcome aboard. You've just reminded me I haven't looked at oil because it's an anagram of your name. Oil yesterday we looked at, and I said, did anybody get this yesterday? Did anybody take it? The equidistant move pullback. That was the long. Anybody get on it? You did. Cool. Hold it. 83.5 a barrel is your next stop. So 83.36 basically, which is ADR today. So if you get ADR today, this will move on the non-farm as well. So if you get a spike up to 83.36 today on oil, I'd get in and take it and stay. Sorry, I'd get out, take it off, because we're likely to get limit order triggers up here, because this is just part of a massive range formation at the minute. This whole thing is a massive range formation, and that is range high. Yeah, there, which was a previous range low, or was a previous support basically. Turned into a resistance. We came up, we didn't quite get to it. We came up, we tested that area again, which is that area previously. We couldn't get through it. So it could go flying through it. Obviously, it could do anything it wants, but you are definitely going to have sellers sitting there, because we've had sellers sitting there twice and they didn't let it get back to those levels also. So we know there's people selling oil at that level. The market is in equilibrium at the moment. Oil production is being strangulated. We've got the issues with Russia at the moment. So it's totally logical that we've been sitting in a range all year. We're at range highs. So if you're in it long, and that was a lovely long opportunity, just be careful at 100 ADR. You know, if you stick a trailer on it, holy crap, let's go NASDAQ. If you stick a trailer on it when you get up there, if it does manage to pop, you could look at a 200 ADR day on it today and take that off. But once we get above that level, though, you are in clear territory, really, until we get back up to these highs, which is the original target was $95 a barrel, which is pretty much these highs. So that is where the market called in December, sorry. Prior to that, they were calling 107 a barrel this year. So that is your next target. I mean, if you want to hold it that long, hold it that long. But, you know, I don't hold stuff that long. But, yeah. So, yeah, we got a lovely playoff of oil yesterday. Dow is at the high of day. Globex high. We're just getting a rejection off the Globex high. NASDAQ is killing it. And we've got more room to the upside on the NAS. If that Dow breaks that high, we could have a nice rally today. So DAX, yeah. So it's done exactly what I said this morning: gap fill and run. So when we break that high, should be looking for long opportunities on the DAX today for the morning. It may not get there, because also bear in mind what we might get today is just rotation ahead of 130, but the move will start at 130. So it's whether or not the US market rallies, and obviously the DAX is going to need the US market to rally as well. So I'm just going to take this NASDAQ off. Oh, haven't hit the confirmation button yet, because I just saw the Dow break the high. So I'm holding. Just want to see what this does. So I'm long on the averages, different price, but my average is here. pretty much there. Top of that propulsion gap is my average, basically. That's $700. So just watching to see if this gets out the highs. S&P is approaching highs. I want to see if we get pop. Or if we don't get pop, I think we're just going to get that until 130. $980. Bag of sand. That's $1,000. 1,200. We're popping. So got 300 banked, 1,200 open on that NASDAQ. That's what I'm watching. If this rejects, this will get dragged. So I'm just watching to see if this holds that high. If it has, hopefully we'll get a continuation rally. Now the breakout players are going to try and step in and take this breakout. But whether or not we've got enough momentum to get through it. So what have I got? I'm just going to lock half of the move in, which is, why have I not got that on there? That's because that's a DOW. So it's locked in $600 basically. So I just want to watch this hold basically, which it has. So we've pulled back into the high, we've wick tested it and rejected it. TP for me is going to be up there. Which is 2.3. Which gives me 2.6 on the morning. So if we can get that run up on the NASDAQ up to there, and I will trail this up as well under candle low because there's too much money to it's too much to leave on the table. We're on a breakout high, and you know that 80% of breakouts fail because by the time you get to the breakout, we've run out of people to buy because we've been pushing so hard to get to the level that we run out. So we tend to break and fail first time and then take a second run, which is what market structure is. So just watching really to see if this holds. If I've got a feeling this might not hold, but it does, it does. So guaranteed 980 plus 300 I got off the Dow this morning. Good little morning. Still nothing moving there though. Gold. Right. I don't have to look at the gold chart. Okay. This is a good lesson in gold if you trade gold. I'm just listening out for the order filled sound. I like that. It means ka-ching. I should change it to ka-ching really. So gold at the moment is a US dollar cross. Well, at the moment, gold always is a US dollar cross because it's a US dollar cross. So gold this afternoon is going to go up or down, dependent on whether that number there comes out as higher or lower than 3.6. Yeah. So if that number there comes out lower than 3.6, gold will go down. that number there comes out higher than 3.6, gold will go up. There you go. I don't even have to look at the gold chart to tell you what's going to happen to gold today. But if you want to get into gold now, you're mental, because there's absolutely no way of knowing whether this thing's going to go up or down. And the likelihood is it's just going to do this. So if you're going to take a trade on gold, I'd go long right now, but make sure you get out there. And if you can get a risk reward that actually makes you some money doing that this morning, good luck. But that's what it's going to do. It's going up and it's going down based on what the news does with the US dollar. What platform for futures? Tradeovate, that is, yeah. I also use heat mapping software, although I haven't used it as much because, to be honest, I didn't find a massive edge in it. It was really good at seeing where order flow is and seeing where orders actually are sitting in the market. But you realize, so I use Jigsaw, basically, Jigsaw heat mapping. But called the Auction Vista. Anyway, so basically what it does, it was actually be easier to have an image of it, wouldn't it? Yeah. So these are orders in the market. So you can visually see where the bank's orders are. Yeah. So there's a load of short orders and there's a load of long orders, right? So, you know, the logic is obviously when you get to this area, there's a load of buy orders there. What do you think the market's going to do? Bounce. Yeah, and it does. But what it also does sometimes is absolutely slam through it into the next one. And then it does a little bounce. And then it will either bounce around and pop off, or it will slam through it into the next one. So this is basically, it's seeing inside the market. You're seeing the actual orders placed waiting to be triggered by the banks, which we know about, because where do they appear? Support and resistance levels. So all this does is it's another way of painting support and resistance in the market. I can draw that on a chart with a candlestick. I know where they are. This helps you understand why and how. So if you, a lot of stuff you learn in this industry is about backing up theory and confirming things. So everybody said to me all my life, support and resistance works. And I see it work sometimes, and other times I don't see it work. So it's useful sometimes, and other times it's absolutely useless. This confirms my thoughts on what happens at support and resistance. We have large amounts of limit orders sitting at these levels waiting to trigger. We know that. I can now see them in the market. So it confirms my theory about support and resistance. Does it help me anymore to see the orders or know they're there? No. It's like air. Yeah, I can't see it. I know it's there because I'm alive. Support and resistance levels. I know there's orders there because it bounces. Yeah, seeing them doesn't help you. So Jigsaw is great for visually seeing market reactions at these levels and why, and it backs up the fact that you know they're there. But all it's doing is painting on your chart what you can paint on your chart anyway, which is a line. So I use that for futures as well. You know, it's fantastic. So, you know, you can see there's a ton of orders sitting there. Yeah. It's an area we haven't traded at yet. So what's going to happen when it comes out the bottom of that footprint is it's going to bounce back up into that area. I know that because I can see those orders in there. But if you look on a chart, you'll find a line further back, a candlestick wick or an accumulation area that it's done that at. So, you know, it's a good bit of kit, very good bit of kit. But it doesn't help you as a trader. It gives you more knowledge. Like I said yesterday, you can read as many books as you like and become as knowledgeable as you like. You can become the best knowledgeable expert trader in the world. If you can't execute what you read in those books, you're just very clever. That's it. And that's what that helps with, making you more clever. It doesn't help you become a better trader, in my opinion. Having used it. But I do crack it out every now and again, and you know. So we missed finding the Holy Grail again. Yep, unfortunately, EMAC, we did. I didn't think it was going to be the Holy Grail. What I was looking for was an edge, another edge that I didn't know about. But yeah, I mean, this trade on the Dow that I took this morning, yeah, I took this. Why did I take it? Because I identified the Globex low and we bounced at it 3 times. And I said, didn't I, on the stream, that's an iceberg order. In that software, you can see the iceberg. I know the iceberg's there. I can see it because there's 3 wicks at the same level that got rejected. So I know there's a bank adding every time you sell me $1 billion if you want. I've got 20 billion. You sell as much orders as you like. Keep coming and I'll just keep adding them. That's basically what the banks are saying. So what you see on a chart is wicks because the banks are going, yep, I'll have a bit more of that. I'll have a bit more of that. When you guys have fed up pushing against me, a brick wall with your tiny little child hands, let me know and we'll go where we're going because we're going long, because I said we're going long, because I'm not letting you go short. That's an iceberg order. That's what you see in that software. I knew it was there because that's where we hit the Globex low and I saw it bouncing. So you see all of this in the charts anyway. So does it give me an edge? No, not really. Where are we going on the Dow? There. Why? Because there's an iceberg sitting there. I know there is, because it's where we turned. So the guys that sold it there are going to sell it again because that's what they did there. Whether there's more people there at that level or not to get through it, like we just did there, we'll find out when we get there. But by the time they get through it, they'll be exhausted, which is why when you get a breakout high, you usually short it because 80% of breakouts fail because the market is exhausted. It hasn't got any more buy orders left. And you will see that when that iceberg order disappears, there wasn't one there, but when the order disappears, it will get moved. And you'll suddenly see, and this is what that software shows you. You see these blocks appear. When you get to these blocks, you either absorb the orders and drop, or you fly through. Then that block suddenly starts appearing there. So they move that block of orders up to there. This is the market, or rather the algorithms, executing the next trade plan. What does that paint on our charts? Market structure. Candlesticks going up and down. Support resistance is where those moves happen. It's a good bit of kit. It's good for educational purposes, but it doesn't really give you an edge. So this NASDAQ that I'm in now, I'm removing my TP because we're approaching this level. One or two things is going to happen here. We're going to get an iceberg and we're going to bounce, or the buyers are going to put their foot on the gas and we're going to pop. Yeah, this is why you hear me say I'm looking for a pop. That was the pop. Pop and hold, which means we've got buyers on side. I think this is probably going to do that. When we get to this level, we're either going to hit an iceberg or we're going to pop. If we're going to pop, there's no point in me TPing here, is there? I might as well TP higher up because I can get more. If it hits an iceberg, I'll get out when the iceberg hits. I don't know which one of these is going to happen, so I'll get out with whatever I get. If I get out before it, I get out before it. That's fine. I want money. I don't want to be right. I want a bank balance, which is higher than it was when I started the day. So that software gives you all this understanding. It's brilliant for that. And the course is really good that comes with it, but it's going to cost you, you know, $1,500. So we missed finding the Holy Grail. Yeah, made 1.5% on my challenge this morning. Cool, good job. Top Step has a pause on new membership. Yeah, we covered that this morning. Until they've sorted all the technical problems out. Victim of their own success. This account now, in my opinion, is the best futures account out there. Because it's one step, one rule. It's just, you don't get any simpler than that. You got one step, make me $6,000. You got one rule, don't hit $2,000 trading drawdown or your max. That's it. It's so simple. Stopping out. Flat. There we go. That's $1,900 for breakfast. Make sure I'm flat on the Dow as well. Sorry, I'm back. What is that platform? That was Tradeovate. That's what you mean. Are there any other broker recommendations other than Robo Forex? Big one. Don't really have any. I mean, depends what you want to do with it. If you want to trade, if you don't need MT4, TD365. If you do need MT4, then and you don't need leverage, Darwin X. Otherwise, Robo Forex. But Darwin X will only give you 1 to 30 leverage. IC markets, good. There's loads of them. Basically, pick a big broker. Any broker that's been around for years, basically. That's really what you need to concentrate on. You want a big broker that's not going to go bust on you. At the end of the day. Right, we'll leave it there. I'll be back this afternoon at 2:20. We will analyze the fallout from non-farm payroll. See if we've made any money. MRA, MT4 with leverage. Yeah, Robo Forex. Or IC markets. Any broker, if you're using the market reversal CA, I assume you're position trading. If you're position trading, any broker that gives you leverage. So IC markets is good. Robo Forex is good. Axie is good. You would have to contact them to get the leverage though, because they'll only offer you 1 to 30 in the UK. And then you say, no, I want to go overseas. And they'll go, all right, fill out this form. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. Robo Forex are absolutely fine. Spreads are okay. Commissions are okay. They're not too bad at spreading. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're not. But that's brokers. There isn't a broker that doesn't spread you. That's their job. They've got a magic button that makes them money when they come to the overnight swaps. So they're all going to do that. But yeah, don't really have another one. I've used them all. I've used everybody. They're all pretty much the same thing. They're all crooks at the end of the day. So which of the crooks do you want to be with? The biggest. That's really it. That's the answer. Right, I'll leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram. Otherwise, I'll be back this afternoon at 2:20. We'll analyse non-farm payroll results and get ready for next week, really, and just see what we've made or what drawdown we've got, one or the other. So have a good morning. Anything you need, let me know in Telegram. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Have a good day.